Let's go.
In 1863,
Greetings. My name is Thomas Clark Durand. Exactly, the head of Union Pacific. We will go down in history as the ones who created the Transcontinental Railroad. And that, my friend, is your job as chief engineer. I can't supervise everything here on site right now, as I have to meet with some politicians in Washington. First, you should familiarize yourself with the basic controls. Move the camera in all directions. Now test the camera's zoom function. You can also rotate the camera. Give it a try. Very good. Now you know the basic controls. Your first task is to create a rail connection between Omaha and Norfolk to the northwest. Both cities will need a station for this. You already have a station in Omaha, but you still need to build one in Norfolk. To do this, switch to building construction mode. Very good. Now the two stations need to be connected with tracks. To do this, switch to track construction mode. Now plan the tracks between the stations in Norfolk and Omaha. To do this, select the two station tracks one after the other. Then pay for your track planning. Now create your first train, so that you can set up a rail line between your stations. Initially, your train only exists on paper. It's not much use to you without a locomotive. Very good. Now you can see the journey your train will take. If there is something to transport, the train will automatically take it. However, as each locomotive needs water, sand and lubricant on its journey, you have to place a supply tower along the route. Very good. Your train is now traveling between Omaha and Norfolk. But you can do even more. Each city needs goods from the surrounding area. For example, every city needs corn. Look, there is a corn farm near Omaha. Until now, the corn has made it to the city in the conventional way, but we want to change that. And now things are getting tricky as we have to deal with a logistical problem. As Norfolk should also enjoy fresh corn, there will soon be two trains traveling on the stretch of track between Omaha and Norfolk. Of course, this will then result in a conflict. Since trains cannot travel through each other, you'll need a sidetrack between Omaha and Norfolk. This consists of one parallel track and two signals. Excellent. However, your trains won't necessarily use the sidetrack, as they generally always take the shortest route. For this reason, you'll also have to specify the direction of travel on each parallel track. Now open building construction mode and set up a signal in the highlighted area pointing in the direction of the switch. Trains will then be able to stop here when the single track is in use. Excellent. Now do the same on the parallel track so that each parallel track has a different direction. Place a second signal in the highlighted area and block the track to trains coming from the opposite direction. Very good. I'm sure that wasn't at all easy. You will soon come to realize that signals are an important aid in guaranteeing smooth rail operations. You will find more information and tips under Hints and Tips. Now assemble a new train and give it a locomotive and a rail line. Your new rail line should run via Omaha to Norfolk so that the people of Norfolk can be supplied with corn. Excellent. The corn farm will automatically make use of your train because the cities along your rail line are demanding corn. Conventional transportation is much more costly for the farm. We are still missing something. Locomotives wear out over time and need to be regularly maintained so they can perform their duties more reliably. For this purpose, there needs to be at least one maintenance building on each rail line where locomotives can be serviced if necessary. Construct such a maintenance building at your station in Omaha now. To do this, select the station itself and expand the station with this building. Right, we've been lollygagging for long enough. I need to return to Washington for further miserable negotiations with our representatives of the people. I've written a task list for you. Take a look at it and complete the tasks within the given time period. Do not disappoint me. Ah, yes, and I've seen you've blown almost all of your seed capital. I don't want to be like that, so I'm giving you a little cash injection, but be more careful from now on. Good. That's finished. You're making progress. Those politicians in Washington get on one's nerves. But now let's get back to your tasks. As you can see, Cheyenne is still a little town hoping for an upswing caused by the railroad connection, but a city will only attract new inhabitants if it is supplied with enough goods. Cities receive basic goods from the surrounding area. If you construct stations in the right places and establish rail lines, your trains will be used to transport goods and you will make profits for transportation. But for this, you have to know what goods a city actually needs. You can find out any city's current needs. Now select Cheyenne and view the city's demand for goods. As you can see, Cheyenne currently needs only a handful of goods, and you can only deliver goods that are in demand. As the city grows, it will demand further goods. At the moment, you can supply grain and wood. Both of these goods are available to the north of Cheyenne. Connect Cheyenne to a timber business and a wheat farm, and establish a new rail line that connects them both to Cheyenne. Well done. The citizens of Denver are impressed by the railroad. Now you've managed to cross the Great Plains. A masterpiece. Cheyenne will flourish thanks to you. And for each mile of track that we lay, we receive 10 square miles of land. The politicians have no idea of the value of the assets they're giving away, but that stays between us. Excellent. Cheyenne is becoming a major railroad hub, and the credit is all ours. Do you know that many people call the vast stretch of land between the Mississippi and California the Great American Desert? Those fools. Once my railroad has opened everything up, the value of these lands will go through the roof. progress is enormous.